Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the EEARSS Podcast, produced by Terrier TV. I am Frank Robb. That's what's going on right now. I am joined by Bill and Cindy. Very nice to see you. Cindy, you've missed a couple episodes. We've missed you terribly, so we're super happy you're back. Thank you very much.
It's good to be back.
Yep, you were definitely missed. Yep, there's a giant hole over there every time you're not here. It hurts.
Whoa,
it's a hole
Frank,
in my heart.
A giant hole.
He did say that. He said giant.
Oh, yeah. I said a giant hole in my heart. I did.
I am pretty giant.
Oh my gosh.
That's because
that's like saying I'm fat, Cindy.
Well, I've been meaning to talk to you about that, Frank.
Yes, I need to watch my my calorie intake, definitely.
Yes, we're worried about that.
I'm getting out of control. Dear Lord. All right, let's go ahead and jump into today's podcast.
Let's do it.
Okay, so today on the podcast we are joined by Jen Anderson. Jen, what is your title at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm? You're the curator of reptiles.
Oh no, I'm the General Curator.
Okay, so for those of us who are idiots like Frank,
thank you.
Explain to me
so much.
Explain to me the difference between curator and General Curator.
Oh well, so a curator in general, for those that do not know what a curator is, it's a manager of a collection. So it could be art, it could be at a museum, and if you're at a zoo, you're a zoological curator. So here we have a curator of education, bird and mammal curator, curator of reptiles. So I am the general curator, so I oversee those curators.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, I knew that. I did actually know that.
Did you?
I did honestly actually know that. I did know that.
Nice save.
Jen,
I have lots of other hats too, but that's my official title.
Well, that's a pretty interesting thing about your job. It sounds like you, on a daily basis, wear tons of hats. That's got to be quite enjoyable for you.
It can be really enjoyable. Sometimes it's a little heavy. Sometimes they're falling down haphazardly all over the place. But it does allow me to not be bored.
No doubt. Sure. No doubt about it.
From one nonprofit professional to another, I feel that phrase very deep in my soul.
Yeah. It continues to get deeper in mine here recently, it seems like, too. Jen, how did you get started at the St. Augustine Alligator Farms? Did you kind of always know you wanted to be in the wildlife world, in the curator world? How did you work your way there? What was your early on? What was your plan?
Gosh, well, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian because what else can you do with animals? I wasn't really sure. Well, I guess at one point I wanted to be a horse jockey, but then I realized my genetics did not bode well for that.
No, that's a pretty cool story on its own right there. Holy moly, how cool is that?
And then I realized when I was in fourth grade that I was already 4 inches taller than professional horse jockeys, that it wasn't going to work.
Now, when you were in fourth grade, did you ride horses?
Most of my horse riding time was in high school.
Okay.
But I always loved horses.
I gotcha.
That's when I was doing it more. But, I didn't ever have my own horse, and it was expensive, and it's very time-consuming, and it didn't really bode with my family's lifestyle. But I got to enjoy some of it, for sure.
There you go. Okay.
Cool.
So then I wanted
go.
to be a veterinarian because that's what you do. And I think partly because I loved animals. We didn't have very many pets really at all growing up, so I'd always try to pet sit. And I just tried to figure out how can I be more involved with animals when I'm a Navy brat, so we moved a lot. And my parents weren't huge fans of animals. So that combo platter meant that I wasn't really around animals. But I would kind of help pet sit. Neighbors, friends, families, I would try to do that. And so that's what I did when I was younger. And then once I get to school, I was pre-vet and then worked at a vet clinic and realized maybe I didn't want to be a vet and started trying to figure out what else there was to do.
Neat.
Now, what turned you off from being a vet?
Most people that have animals, have pets, yes, you go in and get your vaccinations and stuff if they're ideal pet owners. But a lot of times they just are bringing their pets in when there's something wrong with them. So to me, it felt a little gloom and doom. And nothing lives forever, but I felt like my experiences were more of the not positive side of things, and I was trying to figure out, okay, well, what else can I do?
You're seeing people when they're in trouble.
Veterinarians are so important, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a heartbreaker quite a bit on that side of it, for sure. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So you decide you don't want to be a veterinarian. What happens next?
So at this point, I was in college, and I was pre-vet to start, and then that first year is when I realized, what else is there? So it's super important when you're in high school, when you're in college, and you're trying to figure out, what do I want to do when I grow up? At least to start. You could always change your mind later. It gets a little more complicated as you get older. But what do I want to do when I grow up? And knowing what you don't want to do is really just as important as trying to figure out what you do want to do. So it's trying different things. So when I was in college, I was an assistant manager at the pet shop, which was great. I did that for a long time and kind of changed roles through the pet shop. And then I worked at a wildlife rehabilitation center for a long time. And then I worked at a college of veterinary medicine, so a teaching college, and had some additional veterinary experiences there. But once again, just trying to get more animal experience. And then one semester, I want to say it was my junior year possibly, I was just feeling a little burnt out, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I'd like to do this internship at the local AZA, and I knew AZA, I wasn't really familiar with AZA, and by the way, that is the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, kind of the gold standards of zoological accreditation. There was a local AZA zoo by my college, and I said, I would like to maybe drop down in classes and do this internship at the zoo, but I wasn't one to go to zoos really when I was growing up. And that's when I was like, wait a second, this is really cool. I'm taking care of animals. I'm helping make their lives better. I'm making these really elaborate recipes. And I was just an intern. I barely saw a blink into what zoo life is like. But it caught my attention.
No doubt. So where was that at, Jen?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Where'd you go to college at, and where was this other zoo at?
I went to Virginia Tech in the mountains of Virginia.
Blacksburg.
And the zoo, yes, in Blacksburg.
Yes.
And the zoo I spent some time at was the Mill Mountain Zoo on a little mountain in Roanoke, Virginia.
Very neat. Okay, so how in the world do you end up from Virginia Tech to St. Augustine? Tell us about that. Fill in that gap for us.
So, after I graduated college, I was continuing to do some animal-related experience in Blacksburg, still trying to figure out, all right, what am I going to do? And then I became more familiar with the AZA job board. So the AZA website, Association of Zoos and Aquariums, once again, has a really extensive job listings page. And I would just start spending time on there and start going, where do I want to work? And I knew I wanted to move to Florida. I'd always wanted to move to Florida. Actually, when I was in college, I was like, I want to work at SeaWorld. That was my dream. SeaWorld wasn't hiring, not me anyways. And so I was like, I want to go to Florida. Where do I want to apply? And so I was applying to jobs in Florida. And one of them happened to be the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. And they actually interviewed me, shockingly, and called me down for an in-person interview. And so I would say I've been here ever since, but I haven't. I left and went to a couple other zoos and aquariums, and then I came back. Okay.
What drew you back? Tell us what you love about St. Augustine. I know what I love about it. I could go on up for about 40 or 50 minutes about that alone. But tell me you were there. What was your job when you were there, and what drew you back again a second time?
My first job was I got an entry-level bird and mammal keeper position. And I started in 2000, so now I'm kind of stating my age here, and I was here until 2003, and so I started off as an entry-level keeper. When I left, I was senior keeper in the department.
Okay.
Kind of driven.
Wow.
And then I went up north to try to move along my relationship with someone else, which worked out. So I went up to Philadelphia, and I worked at a zoo up there, actually in Wilmington, Delaware, because when you're near Philadelphia, everything's kind of just all right there, and that's the Brandywine Zoo, and I worked there for a while. I remember leaving Florida and then going up in my first week working at my new job. It was 5 degrees. I had to put on so many clothes I could barely move, and I was chipping ice in the buckets so the animals could have water for those that didn't have automatic heaters. And I was like, what was I thinking? I left
That's
beautiful
so different than
trees
Florida.
and beach. Oh my gosh, I can't even move. I have so many clothes on, and I'm still freezing, and I'm chipping ice. This is crazy. And I do love snow and skiing, but this was chipping ice. And
yeah, that's crazy, Jen. That's crazy talk.
But you got to do what you got to do for love. And then
That's true.
But then I was like, maybe I want to work indoors, and so then I switched to Adventure Aquarium. If it's gonna be lousy weather half the year, I should probably work where I can move around. And I worked at Adventure Aquarium in the bird and mammal department there, working with hippos and birds and penguins and seals. And that was a lot of fun. Except for when I started working at Camden, New Jersey, my first week, they had just declared that Camden, New Jersey was the most dangerous city in the whole country. So I had to get escorted from the parking lot to my new job because it was so dangerous. So that was fun.
I've got a question for you, because we've had some other people that we've talked to about hippos. That hippos are very dangerous. How do you deal with a hippo in captivity?
It's all protected contact. So you're still able to take care of them. We do all sorts of training with them. You are just never physically one-on-one with them. There's always ballards or barriers in between the two. But we're still touching them from their sides. You're rewarding them. You're checking out their teeth and doing all sorts of things, but it's protected contact.
So are they moody?
Don't ever go in with animals.
Are they moody?
I mean, are they just, they ever just get, they're just in a bad mood?
I don't know. Sometimes they're grouchy, so are we.
Well, listen,
right?
what's wrong with that, Bill?
Oh, I'm telling you.
Feeling a little judged right
and then
now.
you're like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the right time. We'll just talk about this later.
We'll do this
try
later.
something later.
They know what they want, what they
learn.
don't want.
There you go.
You do. You have to learn. It's super important in this role to learn animal behavior and respect their wishes, and just feel like, or also recognize that maybe there's something that you can do to make things better for their overall well-being and change things. And you just gotta pay attention. I mean, people can get better at that for sure.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Those
yes.
are transferable life skills.
Okay, I'll take the lesson.
One of my favorite questions to ask people. So looking at where you're at now, if you could go back in time as this version of you, this version of Jen, in the job you're in now, to whenever you were first starting off your career and kind of knowing it wasn't in the veterinarian world, that you wanted to go into the zoo world, what would you tell yourself? What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Besides not doing podcasts.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Just be patient, respect others. Not that I wasn't disrespectful, but sometimes you can just kind of just blow off, does that person really have experience? Do they know? I mean, it's just like a child with a parent, and maybe a parent understanding a child. Just respect and be patient, and that can go across the board anywhere. I probably could have been a little bit better about filtering what comes out of my mouth, and I still probably could work on that a little bit more than I do.
Same.
I was going to say, I know somebody else who's like that.
Yes.
Well, it's yet another
Yes,
example of what we talk about all the time. It seems like if it doesn't come up every week, it comes up every few weeks, of someone that has done a job and been at every level throughout the job and done each piece of the puzzle, and made it to the top of the profession in that world, which you have now, and it's very unique because you've worked each side of it. It gives you some unique insight, I'm sure.
I appreciate that you are the kind of person that was willing to go, okay, wait, I had this plan for myself. I had this vision. It's not for me. So how can I pivot? How can I adjust? What can fill that passion part without all of this that I'm not signing up for? And I hope more than anything that young people who listen to this podcast, there are probably two that are young. Whatever.
So both of you listen.
Yes, both of you listening. I hope you know that it's okay to do that, and you should do that. My daughter's at the age now, she's a junior, and she's almost to the end of her junior year, where the first thing everyone that hasn't seen her in a long time wants to ask her is, have you decided what you're going to college for yet? Have you started applying?
No.
And she's like, I have no idea. I'm 16. I don't, that's okay.
Yeah, which is fine.
Try
yes.
a lot of things. Figure out what you don't like before you
There was-
commit the rest of your life to
There
it.
was a comedian who used to say, the reason that adults ask kids what they want to be when they grow up is they're looking for ideas.
For ideas. Yes.
I mean, it is, adults should come up with some different questions to ask.
Yeah.
Then, what are you going to do? You're like, well, just let me grow up a little bit. Let me just figure out how to use my new driver's license
Right.
before you start asking about what I'm going to do. Like, maybe ask me what I'm learning how to cook so I can not starve.
Right. Yes.
I get off to
Yes,
college.
that. Well, yes.
That's hilarious.
Give them a little bit of a break, for sure.
So many people don't realize the role you played in the whole Chicago situation and catching the gator up in Chicago. Will you walk us through that real quick for a second? For those that haven't heard this version of the story.
Because my role is so minor in it. Yours is the giant role.
Well, it wouldn't have happened without your role in part of it. So
I don't remember initially if I got an email or a text. It was probably an email because I didn't really know the person. But I had someone reach out to me from the Brookfield Zoo that was like, hey, the Brookfield Zoo is an accredited facility in Chicago. And they said, hey, we have this alligator in a pond that's not supposed to be there. It's a really big pond. We need some help catching it. The city's been trying to catch it for a few days, and the whole place is in an uproar to save this alligator. And, well, the alligator's still there. Can you help us with this? And I said, we know how to catch alligators great. We do this all the time, but in habitats that we're very familiar with and aren't the size of, like, how big was the pond in Chicago?
oh, it's
Do you know offhand?
freaking massive. I don't know. It was over the course of 20 acres probably.
It was in
so
Humboldt Park,
we
right?
have some large ponds here, but I would not call any of them massive, and they are all regulated, and all of our animals are responsive towards us and will come to us. Not always in a positive. They're usually very energetic about it.
Yes.
But we had zero advice we can give to them to get this alligator that's 3 or 4 feet in this massive pond in the wild. Okay. All right, but wait a second. Frank Robb, he's been doing some audio research here with crocodilian vocalizations. I think he mentioned that he was an alligator trapper, a licensed trapper. Let me just reach out to him real quick. And I didn't say that specifically to the Brookfield Zoo people. I just found Frank Robb. I was like, we're friends on Facebook, or maybe he's on Facebook. Let me just send him a message that way. Hey, are you still an alligator trapper? Which then he responded fairly quickly. Yes. I said, all right, there's a situation. Would you mind reaching out and making contact and seeing if you can give him input? And then the next thing I heard, he was up in Chicago. He caught the thing overnight, and then he's like throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game. So it worked out great.
It's dear Lord, the blessings behind that story. That's the reason every time I see you, I tell you thank you, because you're a giant piece of that puzzle. It's I don't know. It's interesting the path the good Lord puts you on sometimes. It's quite interesting. All right.
And every time I say, you're the one that made it happen, and then I run away with my head cut off because and I'm like, I'm sorry to be rude.
And then you tell me, Frank set something on fire, so I know you're here.
Yep, all good.
Last time I was up there, I did tell one of the employees that, can you message Jen on the radio and tell her that there's a fire at the tell her there at the Nile Crocodiles there's a fire. There's a fire, and there's some tall, lanky fellow with a beard. Which is probably not the place to say that, because all the weird stuff that's happening at the Nile enclosure. But anyhow,
yeah, it's all good.
Inside jokes. So I gave you some homework.
Oh, yes.
Let's jump into the homework.
Stressful homework. Okay.
Jen's stressed out about the homework. Is there a topic, or is it like broad spectrum?
I have 4 questions,
Okay.
and one doesn't match the others.
I love it. Okay, that's great.
Perfect.
All right. Whenever you want to start, Jen.
Do you want the oddball one first or last?
Surprise me.
Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. I'm going to start off easy for you then.
Okay.
All right. And though the answer to this question kind of varies at this moment. So how many species of crocodilians are there in the world?
Frank knows.
I think Frank knows.
I do. You want me to give you this one?
Yeah, tell us.
So the
What is it?
books still say 26, but there's actually 28, although I've heard people argue 32.
Yeah. So, yes, they're
So
saying
just
26.
say 3 numbers,
Right.
and then you can be right.
I have 27, but then there's a 28 randomly. So, yeah. So we'll go with 26 today. Ding, 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 ding.
Yay!
Yeah.
I knew something.
All right. Out of 26 species, how many crocodilian species have been successfully bred at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoological Park?
That's a freaking epic question.
14.
5.
Okay, and so we also say, like, out of these 26 species, 2 of them are kind of new, so we can go with back it up to 24 to make it more impressive sounding. What was your number?
I said 14.
What do
I
you say,
said
Cindy?
5.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
I feel like it's going to be 24, though.
I'm gonna say 11.
No. 11. You're not giving us very much credit. Holy cow.
Frank's a skeptic. He's a skeptic.
I'm just
One is
messing around.
over. No, you're both under. Well, whoever said 24 is way over. So it's 17.
17.
Wow. Yeah, I know you
There
guys
we
had
go.
amazing. You guys have so many incredible things
Okay.
going on there. That makes sense. It's par for the course. With a
Yeah,
5-star
but then
resort like the St. Augustine Alligator Farm.
You know, and some of them, like, we've never produced here, like Cuban crocodiles. Granted, we've had Cuban crocodiles for a long time, but not necessarily together. And that's typically how most species,
Yeah.
vertebrates these days, sexually reproducing species need to be together. Not 100% of them. But
One
most of
Cuban crocodile by itself is plenty for everybody else, believe me. For those that
Yeah,
don't know
and
Cuban
we-
crocodiles.
Putting crocodilians together for breeding purposes, if they're not used to being around each other, is a little complicated.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, here's a bigger picture question.
Okay.
How many vertebrate species have been estimated to have gone extinct since 1500, which is considered the time frame of modern human civilization? How many vertebrate species have been estimated to have
50,000.
gone extinct since
I think it's more than
1500?
that.
Is it 50? I think it's 50 or 100,000. What do you
a
think?
This
lot.
is by the IUCN Red List.
What do you say, Bill?
I have no idea.
Well,
I'm
this
not
is just
even gonna
vertebrates,
guess.
so we're not counting
3.
beetles or anything like
3.
that.
3.
Yeah, I'm
Three?
gonna say 50. I'm gonna say 50,000.
Wow.
I'm guessing some.
868.
There you go. That makes more sense.
See, there you go.
You,
Which is
you
still-
were closer.
I was closer.
Depending on the studies,
Bill wins.
is still like 100 times greater than any of the other 5 mass extinctions that have occurred
No
in the
doubt.
history of the Earth. So
That's nuts.
still a lot. Yeah, that was kind of gloom and doom.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a lot.
All right. All right, I got one more question. You ready
Okay.
for it?
Yes, ma'am.
And one of my side projects lately, personally, is running an obstacle course racing and trail running, and so this kind of stems from that interest.
Awesome.
What is the fastest 5K ever run? The world record for the 5K, which is 3.1 miles. What's the fastest time? This was run in 2020 in Monaco.
14 minutes and 26 seconds.
I don't even know what a good time would
Gosh,
be.
I wish I could run
I
that.
have no
Yeah?
idea.
14 minutes or something. All right.
No idea.
I have no.
No.
I don't even
I'm
know
gonna
what a
say-
good time would be.
so-
What an average time would be.
A really good time running a mile would be 4 minutes, but I've heard these crazy jokers can run it in like three and some change.
Yeah. 4-minute miles is so like decades ago.
Yeah, it's
I can
crazy.
give you a 40-minute mile. How
So
about
you're
that?
saying a 5? I don't know. I'm gonna say 12 minutes.
Ooh, you're so close. 12 minutes and 51 seconds
That's crazy.
was
talk.
run by someone, a
Wow.
Ugandan runner, and that was a 4-minute, 8-second mile pace for 3.1
Wow.
miles.
That's somebody like going full on, 40 second 40-yard dash the entire race. That's
I
crazy
don't
talk.
think I could like sprint. I don't I don't know.
No, I'm sure I couldn't.
I'm
I'm certain.
Jen, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today and chat. I really appreciate it. I know your time is super valuable. Thank you for all you do for all the wildlife there at the alligator farm. If you guys have not been to the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, I don't know what you're waiting on. Sometimes people hear the term alligator farm and think it's it's more like it's a farm for alligators when it's an actual AZA zoo with everything from lemurs to you name it. It's all there. Sloths. Not to mention every crocodilian species you'd ever want to see. It's an incredible place. But one of my many hats is I oversee conservation and research, and we do some epic stuff for sure. Yeah, you guys have been a huge blessing to us and what we do, and I can't thank you enough, and look forward to getting you out in the field for sure. Thank you so much for all of you guys, all that you do, and for inviting me onto the podcast. It's been fun. You're awesome, Jen. Sorry, I must go. Yep, catch up with you soon. Thank you very much. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye. Right. Bye. Bye. Well, that was a great podcast. Trying to think. Cindy, I got a question for you. If you were to, you were thinking, like you're having a thought, and you went, okay, if I'm going to have dinner later on, which, I assume you're going to have dinner later on. It's dinner, going to have part of it. If there was a way to... Sound like a setup. If there was a way for you to... I already don't like where this is going. If there was a way for you to philosophically involve your favorite number and your favorite color into your dinner choices, what would you choose for dinner? Oh my God. Well, my favorite color is blue, so we're already having a really hard time. Blue food is problematic. Problematic. Oh my gosh. If you don't have an answer for it, it's okay. You can think about it. And do you like blue cheese? I was trying to figure out a salad with steak and blue cheese. Ooh, there you go. With 7 pieces of steak. What kind of steak is? Why do I feel like you're trying to get clues to my password? Like you're my favorite number, my favorite color, and your mother's maiden name. Yeah. Hate to break it to you, my passwords are really weird. No, what high school did you go to? Yeah. Well, we already know the answer to that one. Yeah, we do. We do know that one. What's your blood type? Like, where are we going with this, Frank? Do you guys know your blood types? I think you don't know your blood type? I think at one time I did. You have a dangerous job. You got to understand something. I'm pretty sure I'm AB negative. He has spent the entire day taking blood out of alligators. That's true. So that they can type it. But he doesn't know what his own type is. You don't type alligator blood. Well, they're going to look at it. They're going to analyze it. They're going to... I wonder if alligators have different types of blood. I wonder if they do. Person. Do they? Alligator person? I'm going to have to... I honestly don't know that one. I don't know. Well, I would imagine they would. We're looking at heavy metals. It's a diversity of population. Yeah. So they would have to be... We're looking at heavy metals and toxins and chromosome breaks. Okay. Yeah, so so they're probably not interested in something as mundane as a blood type. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Good questions. Ask them tomorrow. I will ask them tomorrow, and I will let you know the answer to that. That's cool. A very intriguing question. Yeah, that's a good one. I really don't know how to answer that. There's not many alligator-related things I don't know how to answer, and that one I have no idea about, but I will look it up and let you know. That's something I learned a long time ago when you're doing educational programs. Every now and then, it's usually a kid that throws it to you. You get a question, you go, I never heard that one before. Right. And I'm not going to make something up. I honestly don't know the answer for it. I will look it up and I will get back to you. I'll find out, but I, honest to goodness, don't know. It's interesting when that happens. It makes you dig deeper into it. So. Oh, sure. Yeah. But it's good that you won't just make something up. No. You tell them. No, that's the wrong idea. I don't know. I really don't know. That's the wrong idea. Yeah. Then you got some people that throw you questions to try to throw you off. Right. So what's that animal's Latin name? If he was going to have a Greek salad later on, what kind of sauce would he put on it? Yeah, things like something that. About, like if your favorite color and your favorite number was going to be a dinner. Something like that. My brain is still stuck on that part of the conversation and trying to figure out why I was just asked that. I like to just run different directions and see where it goes. Okay, well, it's actually exciting places sometimes. You never know. Yes. Cindy's over here having an anxiety attack. I really am. What would have been really crazy if Cindy would have somehow had a preemptive response for that, and
I
actually,
just
and
spat it
it
out.
just went. You know what? It's this and this and this.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
It's a blue moon cream pie, followed by something, or blue moon ice cream.
There you go. Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
at least I know it's blue now, so at least
There
I
you
got that going on. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the EEARSS Podcast, produced by Terrier TV here at Titusville High School. Thank you to Edna Wilson with Celebrate Remax Aerospace for sponsoring our program. Thank you to Pat Fisher Nissan, Advantage Financial, and so many. Good Lord, there's so many different groups that are helping us out with the stuff we're doing. Audition Financial. It's super blessed.
Cool.
Super blessed. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will catch you all next week. Bye-bye.